Geordies, welcome back to another episode. And today I just want to have a bit of a reflection because this season is not lost despite what happened at Villa Park. And I hope everyone's over it now because it's time to look forward, not backwards. There's no shame in losing to Aston Villa. We were poor on the day. Aston Villa were great and they beat us 4-1. I don't think it's a time for us to press the panic button despite us looking a little bit leggy. I always think that we're quite good at coming back from adversity, and we've shown that against Manchester City when we got beat 4-0 away from home, and then the next game we beat Nottingham Forest at home. Not many people have beaten Nottingham Forest this season. Tottenham didn't last night, so that just goes to show that we can come back from adversity. And I know that Eddie Howe wasn't present, but in games between Eddie Howe and Unai Emery, it's always a tactical battle, which is why the games are heavily swung towards one team or the other. That's why you never see games finish 1-0, 1-1, 2-1. It's always heavily favoured towards the one who wins a tactical battle. Unai Emery won this tactical battle in this instance, and let's be honest, Aston Villa were due a result against us because we've beat them quite a lot in recent times. So in our biggest defeat of the season, Man City 4-0 away, we'll bounce back with a win against Nottingham Forest. So I've got no doubt, and I'm confident we can bounce back against Ipswich, which is actually the perfect game when you're coming back after a 4-1 heavy defeat. But there are positives to look at this season. Champions League football is still in our hands. We're never expected to win every single game from now at the end of the season. I was counting us winning our home games and expecting us to drop points away from home. Aston Villa's a tough game. Brighton's a tough game. Arsenal are a tough game. So I did expect to drop points. We've got beat at Villa. We'll now go to Brighton and make sure we don't lose that game. A draw would be enough if we win all of our home games. And then Arsenal, we've beat them, 3 times already this season? They're due a win against us. But they might have Champions League to look forward to. So they might not be fully strength when they come up against Newcastle United, because Champions League next season is already in the bag for them. They've got a Champions League semi-final against PSG to really put all their focus onto. So when we come up against Arsenal, they might still be in that Champions League competition. So all their eggs are going to go into that basket. That gives us a huge opportunity. But let's use this Aston Villa defeat to reset, go again, and we've got 6 cup finals. And these are our remaining fixtures. We've got Ipswich at home, Brighton away, Chelsea at home, which is absolutely massive, Arsenal away from home, Everton at home, and then for some reason, another friendly against Arsenal on the 27th of July. But put that aside. Look, I actually think we've got a good opportunity here. We've got a massive opportunity. Ipswich at home, I feel confident in saying we can get a result there. Brighton away is always tough for Newcastle United. But if we can at least nick a point, if we can nick a win, fantastic. But make sure you don't lose a game. Brighton haven't been brilliant this season. They've been quite vulnerable, especially defensively. So we should be going there thinking we can beat them. And plus, we'll want to get revenge for what happened in the FA Cup. Chelsea at home, I think that's the be-all and end-all. Whoever wins that game knocks the other out. Well, if we win that game, I think we truly knock Chelsea out of the Champions League spots because it's absolutely huge. Chelsea have still got Liverpool to play as well. And if Liverpool don't beat Tottenham, they've got to beat Chelsea just to secure that title. So hopefully Liverpool don't beat Tottenham. Arsenal away, always going to be tough. Everton at home, I feel confident, even though they have picked up towards the end of the season since David Moyes has come back in. I really do feel confident. So if we can win all of our home games, then we've got a massive opportunity. Now, this is a league table. Tonight, Man City play Aston Villa. If either of those win, they can go above us. A draw will keep us 4th. And I think psychologically, if we can just stay 4th, psychologically, that's a huge boost going into Ipswich, because for some reason, when you're sitting higher in the table, it creates less pressure, in my opinion. If we start dropping out and start dropping down the table when we come up to Ipswich, we might start overthinking that game, and we can't do that. We need to win the home games, in my opinion, for us to stand any chance at Champions League football. I know Aston Villa fans, Chelsea fans, Man City fans are saying that we're nailed on for Champions League football. But if we're nailed on for Champions League football, that means Nottingham Forest are nailed on for Champions League football. And they're not saying the same thing about Nottingham Forest. So they're predicting us to get Champions League football based on the games that we've got left. So that's a huge opportunity. It's in our own hands. It's in our own destiny. If we continue to play like we did against Aston Villa, where we did look leggy, I thought the opening half an hour of that game, we did match up with Aston Villa, but as the game went on, we just made the wrong decisions. We started getting tired and the game just went away from us. Aston Villa scored 3 goals in something like 11 minutes. I kind of just made that off the top of my head, but I know it was in close perimeters that these just absolutely blew teams away. Tonight is absolutely huge for Aston Villa or Manchester City. I kind of want to draw in that game. I think a draw would benefit us because it just stops anyone else going above us, and psychologically that could have a huge factor going into these last 5 games of the season. So looking back at these games now, if we can pick up 9 points at home, point away to Brighton, we get Champions League football, and that would be absolutely huge going forwards because it allows you to be better in the transfer market, sign better players, high caliber players. It helps with revenue, and it just generally helps with everything far better going forwards. Now, you could have an argument that going into Europa League, we've got a strong chance of winning that competition. But in terms of economically, Champions League football is exactly what you want if you want to grow consecutively each season as a football club and as a business, because I hate to use the word business, but football is a business. The more revenue you can bring in, the more achievements you can accomplish. And that's the brute honesty of it. And Champions League football allows us to keep our better players, allows us to attract better players, and ultimately build a better and bigger squad, because that's what we lacked. And it was obvious against Aston Villa that we lacked squad depth. You could see the changes Aston Villa made. Just give them a lift, just give them more energy. Whereas we did look leggy. We looked like we had played 3 games in 6 days. And that's exactly how it showed. I just want to put that game in isolation. Just say it was a one-off. Let's bounce back against Ipswich. We've got a perfect opportunity. It's not like we're going to Anfield or going to the Emirates in the next game. We're playing at home Ipswich Town, who are pretty much nigh on for the next team to be relegated. Lose to us and actually think it might relegate them. So they're going to be up for the game, but we should be more up for this game because we've got a lot more to play for. They're pretty much relegated already. They know it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Whereas for Newcastle United, we've got to get Champions League football. But I kind of feel like if we got Europa League football, we could actually win that competition. Because if you look at this season's Europa League semi-finalists, we're better than every single team in there. Atletico Club, I actually like them as a football club. They're very strong. They've conceded the least amount of goals in La Liga this season. As a collective team, they're very, very good. They're actually my favourites to win the tournament. But when you look at Bodo Glimt, they're the first team from Norway to reach a stage of the competition. Look how poor Manchester United and Tottenham have been this season, and yet they're in the Europa League semi-final, and they're benefiting from teams not dropping out of the Champions League into the Europa League. I actually think if we were in the Europa League next season, then we've got a natural strong chance of winning it, but the Champions League is where it is. The Champions League is where it matters economically, and if we want to grow as a football club, we do need Champions League football. And if we do get Champions League football, we're going to attract players like Matheus Cunha, but it doesn't look like he will be coming to St. James's Park, because Fabrizio Romano has been saying that Manchester United have been meeting up with Matheus Cunha and he's interested in joining Manchester United. Now, I've been thinking about this, and if you're a footballer right now and you've got interest from Newcastle United, Manchester United, why on earth would you choose Manchester United? Every single player that's went there for the past 6 years is regressed, has underperformed. Nobody is getting the best out of any individual player there. When you look, the opposite is happening at Newcastle United. Eddie Howe is improving each and every player, and you look how happy the players are to beat Newcastle United. They're a team. The environment they've created is absolutely phenomenal. And why would you not want to join this upward trajectory? Matheus Cunha is obviously a talented footballer. You don't score 16 Premier League goals in a poor side if you don't have ability. I'd happily take Matheus Cunha at Newcastle United. However, if it doesn't happen, there's plenty more fish in the sea. There's plenty more targets out there. It could be another statement signing if we were to get Matheus Cunha. Beating top clubs to his signature would really have shown a statement of intent from Newcastle United. Squads are built on profiles and partnerships. Although you can question his attitude, his versatility would benefit Newcastle United. He's got talent and he can play anywhere along the front line. He can cover for Isak, he can cover for Murphy, he can cover for Gordon, and he can cover for Bruno. There is a little caveat with Matheus Cunha. Does he have a bad attitude? I kind of feel like I'm going to say this. His red cards were at Fulham were on purpose. He signed a new contract with a release clause and thought, I'm not getting an injury. I do not want an injury because nobody's going to activate that release clause. And I kind of feel like he got sent off on purpose. I'm going to throw it out there. I kind of feel like he did. And I kind of feel like if he came into a squad with other Brazilians in the squad dynamics that Newcastle United have got, we wouldn't see that bad attitude, in my opinion, because I think this Newcastle United side are built for each other. They work for each other. They really fight for each other. And I think if you put a bad apple in that sort of environment, sometimes he can't thrive. And I think Bruno and Joe Linton would keep him in check. But personally, I think, in my opinion, Matheus Cunha thrives as a number 10, which is why he probably suits Manchester United's system better than ours. And that could be the main factor in him deciding on Manchester United, because they play the same system as Wolves. And he's been thriving at Wolves. I'm kind of trying to put myself in his shoes and why we choose Manchester United over Newcastle United, because when you look at it from the outside in, it's Newcastle United all day, every day. Very much doubt they won't, but hopefully they don't, so then they've got something to play for when they go to Stamford Bridge. And Chelsea really got some tough games towards the end of the season. Many reasons, Eddie Howe being one, the squad dynamics, the trajectory where the clubs are going on will potentially be in the Champions League. So when you put it like that, there's more pros of joining Newcastle United than there is of Manchester United. So the only factor I can see him joining Manchester United is because the system might suit him better. But I kind of feel like he would fit in Newcastle's system because he can offer that versatility, and he wouldn't really be playing second best to anybody because there will be injuries throughout next season. When there is an injury, he'll slot in nicely. So it would have been a nice signing, in my opinion. But look, the attitude, I'm just assuming that he got sent off on purpose. I don't know. I'm just assuming that. I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts, though. What would you be happy with a Matheus Cunha signing? Is this transfer news to Manchester United just his agent hyping him up to try and get a bit more from him? I know he's got a release clause, but in terms of salary, that's what I'm talking about. Plus, he would be a large salary, in my opinion. So would Newcastle United factor that in? Let me know in the comments below. Would you happily take Matheus Cunha at Newcastle United, or are you happy to see him going to Manchester United because of that bad attitude? But I also want to hear your thoughts on my game predictions. My personal opinion, I think we'll beat Ipswich at home, we'll beat Everton at home, we'll beat Chelsea at home, and I think we'll draw at Brighton, and I think we'll lose to Arsenal away. That's me being honesty, but I want to hear your predictions. Do you think we'll get Champions League football? Let me know in the comments below. But if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and until next time, away the lads.